All right, today I want to talk about actually what I want to talk about has changed. As I was starting to write down ideas, I'm like, you know what? What's really been on my mind is AI and self storage and AI and how it's going to impact our lives. And while I'm by no means an expert, I know this. So that disclaimer here, I'm not an expert on AI by any means. But I do think there's a lot of noise out there that I think can be bad with AI, and maybe it's just noise I'm hearing. I don't know, but I know the AI chatter and the job disruption and the AI apocalypse that people are talking about in whatever 5, 10 years, 3 years, whatever people's timelines are this year. I think can be overwhelming if you're paying attention to it or it's it's around you. I know in my world and obviously with social media and my phone's not near me right now, so hopefully it's not listening. But the more you talk about something, the more the algorithm with social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is going to pick up on it, right? And then we're seeing and hearing more of that stuff. So I'm sure that's probably part of the reason why there's a lot of AI chatter in my life kind of right now, but also talk about with friends all the time. People that I highly respect that are real estate investors, business owners, self storage owners, and it's been a large topic of conversation lately. So, kind of want to get my thoughts out, and it'll also be interesting to see how well this I guess fares over the course of the next year, next 5 years. Everything I could say could be completely wrong. Everything I could say could be somewhat right or mostly right. Who knows? None of us knows. But also to pile on top of that, I'm kind of fat. I am fasting right now. I didn't have breakfast, and we're somewhat coming up on lunch right now. So who knows? This could be hangry John. I'm already talking about myself in third person, so this episode's gonna be a little bit different. So let's kind of talk about and unpack kind of my thoughts on and things that I've talked to friends about, and I've ran it through different platforms, Chat GPT, Claude. I think I ran it through Grok just to see because I think us as business owners, if you are a business owner or just people in general, I think you need to plan with what's coming, what anything in life, but especially with AI that's coming. Right, we know it's coming. It's here. It's already disrupting jobs. Um, how much that's going to disrupt, we don't know. We do can kind of guess some jobs, but we don't know the full impact right now. And it's going to keep changing week by week, month by month, year by year. It's going to keep changing, and it's going to be interesting for sure. But what I've ran through kind of models through, and mostly through Chat GPT because it's got all my information over the past year or so. So I think most of it's been through that. But it's interesting that I broke down every city that we have storage facilities in Ohio. I put that into chat and then basically gave it the long and short was tell me the AI impact that AI could impact on jobs in these markets. And it went through, all the types of jobs that were in these markets, how AI could possibly affect those jobs probably more sooner than later. Because yeah, I mean, 50 years from now, yeah, AI is going to have an impact on every single job, right? On and every market segment, on anything, right? Definitely sooner than that. But I think there are some jobs that will be lagging, and it could be 10, 20 years before AI kind of really impacts some of those jobs. So it was more the immediate, which is probably more from what I'm seeing and hearing are more kind of computer jobs that are repetitive computer tasks, right? That's probably low hanging fruit. Administrative jobs, entry level jobs, stuff like that are going to go. So it kind of broke down those segments and what cities or markets I should be more concerned in than others, and some of them somewhat surprised me. I think manufacturing was one that in one town, and again, like even ChatGPT is not 100% correct all the time. Some of the things that spewed out, I'm like, that's not entirely correct because I know the market a little bit and the jobs that are there. But it did say some of the markets that we're in is heavy in healthcare. As of right now, healthcare is probably a somewhat safer profession, right? But I want to know all these things because these are the people that are renting from us and renting storage units and keeping our businesses alive. So I wanted to know all this stuff. And it was interesting and it kind of um, maybe cooled the flame for me a little bit because the AI chatter has been pretty loud lately. I've heard a lot of people just say like 3 to 5 years, us as a civilization are pretty much done. It's going to look completely different, which it will look different without a doubt. But I also believe that you just look at history in general. Anytime there's been I don't want to say disruption, but a major improvement. It's probably a better way to put it. Whether it's, the wheel or in farming, that's change, agriculture, the machine, the engines, right? Every time the industrial revolution, every time we've had a big economic impact, something like this, something that the internet, right? The internet boom. There was a ton of fear in the streets. And this is something that I've ran through chat and Claude too. And kind of compared eras and kind of compared history on what has happened in the past when something like this has come about, and then how this could look. And I started thinking, and I also fed it like, do you think this could look similar to how COVID looked? Because COVID, there's a ton of fear in the streets, right? Things changed, jobs changed, especially early on in 2020, even in 2021. People were sent home. People definitely lost jobs. Now it was a little bit different because the government pumped a bunch of money into the market in different ways. So some of that looked a little bit different. And job loss, I think it was more temporary than what more than likely AI will be. And AI will all adapt, right? But I think that adaptation will take a little bit longer. It'll be quick, kind of like COVID, but I think the adaptation will be more so years, maybe decades than COVID was, we'll call it year, 2 years, right? To where it had an impact, and then we kind of settled down and got back on track. But I did compare it to that in ways, and I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? And even chat brought this up. We're probably going to see a lot more freelance jobs, a lot more contract jobs, not contractor, which there could be, but contract jobs. So more people doing, just use like Grubhub, doing side gigs, right? Maybe less people having full-time jobs and more people having 2 or 3 gigs, stuff like that, side hustles. I think there'll be more of that. So when it comes to self-storage, I think that's a benefit. Now you've got more entrepreneurs, more than likely. People have side gigs. They're probably going to need a little bit more space. So I think that will benefit self-storage in general. But I think there'll be other things too. And I don't want to I don't want this episode to get to where I'm just rambling here. But I want to get back to kind of the impact on kind of our mentality around it, because I think there's a lot of fear right now, and fear's not good, right? I think we need to embrace it. Even the people that say, if you're not trying it, you're going to be left behind. Listen, it's not, it is going to be fast. In my opinion, you're not going to be left behind. The people that are going to be left behind are the people that still don't have internet or still uses AOL.com dial-up service. Yeah, those people will be left behind. Everyone's going to implement this stuff in their life. You don't have to be the first one there. I mean, I've got friends that were using what is it? I think it's OpenCloud or whatever it is. That blew up their computer. I've heard there's security issues with this OpenCloud or whatever it is. I ain't gonna be the first one to do all that stuff. That's not me. I'm gonna let some of these things. I'll dabble here and there, and I am on Chat GPT and Claude and run things and kind of talk to it. But I'm not to the point where I'm developing apps. I'm not doing that stuff yet. And this is where, even thinking through that, I may not be that person that ever does that. However, there are going to be jobs, there already are jobs that are that come to the surface where we need AI experts. There's already those, right? But instead of me learning how to make a program or an app or whatever through AI, just hire somebody, right? It's those there's going to be new jobs from all this stuff. So I think the panic, the fear, at least that I'm seeing, I don't want to say there won't be major job disruption. I don't think there will be, but I think what's worse is the fear, because that's when fear is. And I'm talking to one of my buddies who's like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to sell off a third of my portfolio, pay down the debt, blah blah blah," which completely fine, but don't do that out of fear based, because fear based, especially when there's masses doing that, that's when we have, with the Great Recession in 2008, we had a ton of fear. And then it got worse before it got better. The Great Depression, same type of thing, fear. The bank runs, right? Once fear takes over, then we're in trouble. I don't think AI in general will crush us. I think it'll be, if it happens, it'll be more fear and people kind of feeding that fear. So that's my opinion. But I do think AI will be a great tool. It already is a great tool if you're using it, and using it in certain areas. And there's areas where it may not be ready yet for self storage. We've been looking at an AI kind of backup for the call center. So maybe AI agent to answer after hour calls. It's not there yet. And I've been hearing this for at least a year, if not 18 months of, oh, it's so close. We're almost there. It's been at minimum a year, probably 18 months to where I've been hearing that and it's still not there. Will it get there? I believe so. Yeah, I do believe that. But it's not there yet, at least for the tools that I've seen and the products out there for self storage. So, but yeah, AI is a tool and it will help us. It'll be more efficient. In fact, I've been talking to my assistant, who's probably listening to this podcast, and we'll be editing it. Hopefully, you edit that because that was really bad. But I'm trying to find, suggest ways to make her life easier so that she can be more productive. I know there's tools out there to cut up reels easier. They're not perfect, right? They're not perfect yet. Will they be a lot better in 6 months and a year? Probably. Make things a lot easier, make her more productive, be able to let her do more things and or have more free time, more time with the family. So there's things like that without a doubt, it'll help and is helping already. And I've already touched on this, but it's going to create more work, different jobs. There's going to be AI experts. We've already seen that. And it's funny because we're gonna have AI experts, and for whatever reason, this just popped in my head, probably because I'm low on food right now. But even the food industry, I keep hearing people talk about, yeah, they're gonna replace people working at McDonald's in the entry level jobs, which at some point, yeah, there's already restaurants that are kind of operating that way. But there is so much red tape to get there. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It's going to happen. But there's a lot of the population that I think will, um, and I don't want to lose my train of thought because there's something that I want to talk about with construction as well. But there's a lot of the population that I think will definitely be turned off by AI, right? There's a lot of people that will like it, but humans, we need human interaction. When I go to a restaurant, I don't really want a robot, especially sit down restaurant. I don't want a robot coming over and, telling me the specials. It's not something I want. And not, I'm basically mid 40s. So I'm kind of in that age of, still, I'm a millennial, but also kind of, um, I don't know, traditional too. So I, I think definitely going to be changes, but I heard Gary Vee say this in 2030. He's just naming a year. It's going to look more like 1850. We're going to have this huge race over the next 4 years of AI. And then there's going to be this cyclical thing where we come back around and it's like, you know what? I like AI in certain areas of my life, but there's a lot of pieces that I just want human interaction. I want to slow down. I want to sit around a campfire and just hang out. And that's not just those things, social things. That's also being productive in a business, right? There's things that even if we can get, as of right now, even if we can get an AI call center bot, I'm not planning on getting rid of anybody on our team right now, to have that AI bot replace anybody. It's not it's it's not what I wanna do. Could that happen in 10 years? Possibly. But right now, no. To me, at least for me and maybe my thinking, is different or will change. I have no idea. But right now, for me, it's not about collecting the money. It's more about how many lives I can help impact by providing more jobs. And I think there's a lot of people like that. So when it comes to AI, I don't. I do. I'm sure there'll be people that will want to replace people with AI as much as they can. But at some point, there's um I think it'll be cyclical, and I think we'll kinda go back to, you know what? I want humans on my team, and AI will just be a tool. And I kinda wanna go back to construction because they keep talking about, I keep seeing how, these robots will take over blue collar jobs at some point, and right now they're saying blue collar jobs are safe. But even with that, like, we've had machines, right? We've had machines help us with construction. It just made us more productive and created more jobs and more people in the trades. In fact, right now we could use some robots, some AI robots, to help us with the trades. Because to find a handyman or a plumber or an electrician to work on our house, it's really hard to find somebody that's good. You may be able to find someone that could come out tomorrow, but they're probably not very good. All the good ones are busy for the next week, 2 weeks. I mean, we've been having some concrete issues that we finally got fixed, but it took, I think, a year for me to find a contractor that, one, I trusted, and two, didn't ghost me. So yeah, I think some jobs we definitely need some AI robots because we just don't have enough workforce. So I am almost 18 minutes in and definitely rambling at this point. The food, lack of food is definitely hitting me here. But anyways, if you've hung on, I appreciate it. Long story short, I do think AI is going to disrupt some things, but I think it's going to be helpful. I think it's going to be a great tool. Um, but the biggest thing is we've got to really watch the fear and the fear mongering. And, if you're, I don't want to say if you're a leader, be a leader. Don't let the fear take over, especially if you've got a business, if you run a business, don't let the fear take over. I know I've had people on my team that have kind of asked, is this AI tool or whatever going to replace me? That's what we don't want to happen, right? Because then people are starting to, have kind of a instead of an abundance mindset, they've got a small mindset to where it's like, oh, I got to start saving money. I can't spend. I can't enjoy life, and that's when things start to trickle down. And we saw that in 2008. A lot of us saw that in 2008. I was younger, but definitely saw it. There was a ton of fear mongering, and that just makes things worse, right? So I think that's the biggest piece that if I can suggest anything, because again, I'm don't these are just my opinions, right? I could be completely wrong, but if I can suggest anything, don't let the fear mongering or the fear paralyze you. Stop doing business. Stop making your business better, or hang on the money. Pack money away. To me, and again, this isn't financial advice, but to me, the fear is worse than anything else that could happen with AI. So that's all I've got. Again, thank you for tuning in. I have been rambling for about 20 minutes now, but hopefully there's been some valuable information here, and would love to hear from you if you agree or disagree. I'd love to one. I'd love to find kind of an AI expert. I've been looking, but haven't really found that person that I like to have on that can speak, I guess, in general on the future of AI, just in life, not necessarily in storage, but just in life. So if you know of somebody, if you are somebody, even if you've got some thoughts on it, reach out to me. Would love to talk. Would love to have a conversation, back and forth conversation about AI and the impact, not just on storage, but in our lives in general. So, again, thanks for listening. See you next time.